We subscribe to the theory that you can develop the best content in the world. If no one shows up to watch it, you wasted your time, energy, and most importantly, your money. We are an online video development company. We focus on development of video channels for organizations. We design those strategies and actually design production if necessary, but most importantly, we design the strategy, we develop the online video channel, and ultimately then we distribute that online channel, which means essentially we make sure that an audience that you need to reach shows up to actually watch the program.
Welcome to Vox ORLive with your host, Bob Oakley.
Welcome to Vox ORLive. I'm Bob Oakley. I'll be your host. And this week we want to introduce our listeners to ORLive. Some of you may already know about us from our website, ORLive.com, where we broadcast live and on-demand surgeries and medical procedures to surgeons and physicians, informed care seekers, medical students, and frankly anyone who's looking for an honest look inside a treatment, procedure, or surgery. ORLive has been streaming live surgeries to the internet at a rate of about 150 to 200 each and every year. And now we've begun evolving further to becoming a branded communications channel for hospitals and device manufacturers who are looking to reach out and touch the audiences that they're trying to get their message to directly without some sort of crass commercialism, just presenting the content and getting them excited about what they do. We've been doing this since 2000. And we think that we are at the forefront of what has emerged as a very effective and a thriving form of communicating complex information such as a medical treatment or surgery. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to sit down with one of our founders and CEO, Ross Joel, to talk about how ORLive has been changing. Ross, we see each other every day, so I'm just gonna dive right in. One question we get asked a lot, and one that I think the answer helps to frame ORLive for people who've just found us, is where do we get the content, the video content that appears on ORLive?
Great question. We focused historically on device manufacturers and hospitals. Hospitals range from large academic medical centers like New York Presbyterian and the Cleveland Clinic and Brigham and Women's and many others. Community hospitals ranging from Tampa to Chicago to Los Angeles and everywhere in between. Device manufacturers, we work with a wide range of device manufacturers ranging from Zimmer to Biomet, Stryker, Intuitive, Smith & Nephew, Medtronic. The list is fairly much endless.
So we get some of the best known hospitals, biotech companies, and device manufacturers in the world to work with us. But the question is, why do they?
When we work with device manufacturers, like with all our solutions, we work across a range of applications. Everything from employee communications in some instances, up to and oftentimes and probably mostly on marketing initiatives. Marketing initiatives, some clinical affairs initiatives, some peer-to-peer education programs as well. An example, when we work with a device manufacturer, oftentimes we are involved in supporting a product launch, or we're involved in helping resuscitate interest around a particular product. Oftentimes that is by featuring and focusing on procedural marketing as opposed to product marketing. Oftentimes we find that the content is much more credible if it's not so much about, oh, you gotta use this scalpel, our scalpel's the best, come on down and get it today, but more putting that product against the backdrop of the procedure, because that's what clinicians will show up to watch. They'll show up to watch an approach to a particular procedure, particularly if it features a relative star quality physician. They'll show up for that much more likely than they will show up for a, hey, you got to come and watch this scalpel in use.
So it's about content marketing, providing the audience with information and sharing knowledge rather than just hitting them with product messaging. But what about branding? How do we help, say, a hospital with getting their message out?
Quite honestly, if you're a small hospital strangled for budget and you only market locally, not even regionally, then honestly, to dip your toe in the pool, if you will, it might be that YouTube is the way to go, that using their embedded player may be the way to go. It's a consumer brand. It may not offend your leadership. It certainly won't offend most of the consumers who come to your site. So it may be a simple and effective tool to dip your toe in the water. If you are a mid-size hospital, however, the expectations on you are different. They're different, and the level of expectation from a technological standpoint is distinctly different than what it is for that low-end hospital. It's distinctly different for your brand, too, and you have to ask yourself questions about, do I really want YouTube's brand prominent on my site? If you're going to bury video content deep within your site, then again, maybe in your mid-sized hospital, maybe you don't care. But if you're really looking at what video is starting to become and what it's starting to mean online and online to your brand, then you've got to raise that video up to a more prominent location in your online presence. And if you're going to do that, my estimation as a marketer, it shouldn't be branded with YouTube. It should be branded with your own logo, your own branding. So that's number one. That's how we can help you, again, with a tool set that will allow you to brand players, brand the content yourself.
Now that's interesting, because up until about 2 years ago, the old strategy at ORLive was to drive traffic to ORLive.com. But now the focus seems on driving the video content everywhere. What's changed?
I don't make the presumption that every single person that you're trying to reach comes to ORLive.com. It would be incredibly egomaniacal for me to assume that. I subscribe to the very backbone of the internet, the web, that we are all interconnected. It's my job to put your content and your message into as many venues as is possible online so that your target audience bumps into that content wherever they go. ORLive is simply one of the syndication partners, one of the destinations where they can find that content. Your site should be just one of those destinations, not the sole destination, because if you subscribe to that idea, you're leaving a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential audience on the table.
Okay, so syndication is critical, but can you really drive an audience through syndication? For example, we've got clients that have paid 6 figures for branded locations on YouTube, and you just sort of smack down the idea of using YouTube. But wouldn't YouTube, being the second largest search engine in the world, a video extension of Google itself, wouldn't that be the logical place, be the first place to syndicate content to?
We have a site on YouTube as well. We didn't make the investment in that site. We used the free tools. And quite honestly, I subscribe to the idea that the free tools that YouTube offers presents a much more valuable opportunity, relatively speaking, than does the investment option. And I tell you that because, and not to suggest that your investment was wasted. Again, I think a presence on YouTube is a terrific opportunity, and we do it too. The downside to YouTube is that it has become a microcosm of the internet at large. People go to YouTube not necessarily with a particular destination in mind, but rather a particular search term in mind. Honestly, within YouTube, you are among a morass of other kinds of content and other competitive messaging, even within that search term that the person that you're trying to target has gone looking for. So again, while the internet at large is this incredibly vast resource, YouTube is a subset of that incredibly vast resource, and it's really very difficult to make your content stand out, pop, if you will. Number 2, our site. I'm going to guess that our site may be very competitive and, in fact, may even supersede the kind of audience traction that your site has gotten. We've had 16 million views of our video content on YouTube in the last 12 months, 19 million overall. So we've been very successful in using YouTube as a resource, as a promotional tool. But quite candidly, YouTube is worth to me, from a transactional standpoint, from a business standpoint, exactly what I paid to build it. 0. It is nothing more than a billboard. It is nothing more than a brand message. And absolutely, I love the ego gratification that I get by saying that we have 19 million viewers and We have as many viewers as the New York Times broadcast site, more viewers than ABC television news, more viewers than CBS television network site on YouTube. I love being able to say that, but honestly,
Ross loves that YouTube story. Syndication is a critical part of what ORLive does because ORLive provides context. And those YouTube statistics we were discussing, it's grown to over 30 million views with less than 500 pieces of video. The ORLive channel on YouTube outperforms the number one news source on YouTube, the API, on a per video basis. If you think about it, that's very exciting. Thanks for listening to this first episode of Vox ORLive. For Vox ORLive, I'm Bob Oakley. Thanks for listening.
Vox ORLive would love to hear from you. You can always reach us at vox@orlive.com or follow us at twitter.com/ORLive. You can always find us online at orlive.com, where we invite you to watch and learn.